Hello Choosters, it's Gav and welcome to another one of my videos. Today it's the final reveal of I laugh because it's a model that I started how long ago now? Months ago. And it's all been, stuck together more or less and prepped for painting, primed, all the rest of it. But I think I've mentioned before I was trying to sculpt some figures specifically for this vehicle. I've not been able to do it to how I would like. It all started with me putting some putty on the vehicle itself, and I'd got a bit left over, and I just started playing around with it. I'd only recently seen a sculpting video, and I popped some putty on a cocktail stick and had a play around with it and made a little figure, which I didn't think was too bad for a first attempt. So of course you think, right, I can do a whole unit of them. And every one I tried got worse and worse and worse as the harder I tried. I tried some 18mm Napoleonic figures as well. They just went down the same road. But anyway, that's another story which I will be progressing on because I've sent off some anatomy books and what else? And I've been really getting my head around the sculpting side of it. I don't suddenly want to do it commercially. It was just something else I fancied doing in between everything else I'm doing. So, Hobby Boss, it is Hobby Boss, isn't it? Yeah, I forgot, it's been that long. Hobby Boss, German Land wasser-schlepper, early production it says. These had a few production variants. I think the very early ones actually had the three, it looks like a funnel and it's not, it's actually for the guys to stand in and con the vehicle, I suppose, when it's in water. And there was actually three, another two of these funnely type shape things on the back there. This one's only got the one. Later variants, they stripped the complete, where am I? They completely stripped the top off and made it more into almost like an armoured raft. Still powered, still tracked, and it had a couple of armoured crew compartments, and I presume it was so that apart from doing its usual towing, pushing and winching, you could put stores. Otherwise with this variant you have to open hatches at the top, which I'll show you in a bit, and put your stores down the middle. I think you could carry about a dozen blokes in it as well if it had to. So yeah, it's for those of you that haven't seen these previous videos, it's a tug more or less, a track tug. Originally, I think they originally designed it, the idea of pushing bridge pontoons and stuff into place when they're crossing large rivers, but then obviously it got caught up with Operation Sea Lion, which was a proposed invasion of the UK. Obviously that never happened, and they were used, obviously they were training to tow barges and stuff, and that's what they were used for a lot in Russia and places with wide rivers and swamps and things like that. They could still tow rafts and things. They were steel, but they weren't armoured. I would imagine rifle rounds would probably penetrate it. You do see people modelling MG34s and that on tripods and sticking them over on parts of the vehicle. I've never seen any pictures of that myself, as in the real-time photographs. It really was just an unarmoured workhorse, but I just think it was such a, I won't say obviously an iconic vehicle, but a different vehicle to do. I love engineering vehicles, this was right down my, I was going to say right down my alley, but right down my river probably. And great little kit. So anyway, I'm waffling, just holding the box up. If you'd like to join me at the bench, I'll show you the things I've done right, and as usual with me, the things I've done wrong. Again, anybody that's stumbling across these videos, I'm a long time figure painter, but I hadn't touched a model kit since I was, I think, about 18, 19 probably, the last time. I'm now in my 50s, so it's been a long break, and it's been a real trial to learn to stick styrene together again and make it look good. So join me at the bench, guys, and we'll take a look at this Land wasser-schlepper. Right guys, thanks for joining me at the bench. As usual, I apologise for the weird angles of the video. You haven't seen a video from me in a few days, which is usually quite unusual. It's only because I've been starting on painting yet more AB 18mm Italians from a client, and I just need to get stuck in for a bit. I'll have some of those to show you in the next couple of days. So I'm a bit, again, bench is a bit full up of soldiers at the moment. So let's have a look at this guy. Right, things that I've added first. So we'll say scratch built, I suppose. On the box art, it will show you these exhaust ports here. Can you see them? They don't exist on the real thing. Oh, sorry, on the real thing, on the model itself. As you can see by the crazy angle that I've drilled everything, I still can't draw or mark a straight line to save my life. But I drilled those with I can't even remember now, a tiny drill bit, one of those ones that are easily break, and I literally just used it just twirled it around in my hands to get through those. So I put some exhaust ports in, and obviously I was just giving them a bit of exhaust staining around, not too much. I've added this hemp or rope bulwark type of thing around the side. You can see that's where they push it at the front, and you really need to add that. It's the only thing I'd say that you really should probably add, because it's quite prominent on the vehicles themselves, because obviously that's what they're designed for, as well as towing, is to push and pull things. So you know that you know, get your whatever putty choice you like, and obviously do that. Just stick a cocktail stick, and you'd probably do it better than mine, but I've shown it where the ropes are attached slightly. So yeah, so that's missing on that as well. Although it's not actually shown on the artwork of the box, but it is very prominent on the vehicle itself in real life. So you know, I would suggest you do that. What is shown on the vehicle is this metal railing. It's shown a lot lower than that, and if I didn't have such giant sausage fingers, I'd have tried to lower that slightly. But again, I'm not used to this type of work, and it's just taking a bit of time to obviously get better at it, if that makes sense. Get the light down a bit. This is just made out of I believe florist wire, but you know, you can make jewellery wire, whatever you want. All it is on the what you get with the kit is just literally a ridge. There's none of these little, you know, stanchion bits here. Nothing. It's just a ridge round the top, and it is really low. You'd miss it. You wouldn't know what it was if you didn't know the vehicle. So I cut that away and added those. I think that was. Oh, of course, yeah. I opened this hatch out again badly. As you can see, I'm useless at the moment at trying to do anything in a square line. The idea was I was going to have a figure up in this like commander's thing here, and another figure just sat on there above or just have the driver actually, sorry, on this one, sorry, sat down there. I put there's no interior at all. I made some little plasticard seats, not over the top, no cushions or anything, just something that I thought you'd see. I even made a little winch, which is somewhere in this position in here, and you can't see it at all. Again, no wire around it or anything. It was just there to look the part, because it has a winch obviously in the back portion here. And I did paint it white. As you can see here, that's painted white. Well, obviously, like most German vehicles, interiors are painted white, or the armoured ones are anyway. In the end, I just didn't like what I'd done, and I just sprayed it all black inside in the end, just to make it harder to see. So I've done the painted port and starboard there. You can see red and port and starboard lights in there. Hope I've got that right, the right way round. They show these as the usual red and white life-saving hoops, but I know on British, I know this is German, but I know on British ships and everything they always used to paint them grey as part of the ship, because obviously it looked like a giant bullseye otherwise. So what I've done is I've painted that grey and then made out as if the paint's flaked off it a bit. So that's what I've done there. These here, I believe, are literally indicators. They'd flip out to tell you if you're turning either end there. I couldn't see if there were any colour photographs on those to see if there were a particular colour, so I've left them grey. I've not done massively anything in the interior part there, because there isn't a lot to show, but I could have probably done a bit more with these couple of boxes. But your winch, there's a hole there you can't see, but the winch, well, they've put a metal blanking plate over it like it would have in real life, but the winch comes out here obviously through these rollers and over this end roller, for when it wants to tow, pull things. And obviously then you've got this one here as well. Pictures I've seen, I hadn't actually seen the rope going to the anchor, and I don't believe the anchor was, unless it was, if it was probably using the winch, they might have thrown the anchor out the front to obviously hold her in as she was towing, I don't know, but I didn't see a rope going up to it, so I've just put some wire around there just to show that it was, because again that's not on the vehicle itself. These were quite tight fit getting them in, and I really stuffed it up with I only used the crystal clear, but even still I managed to still get lumpy bits all over the shop. The biggest letdown for me on my own work is the decals. I've got silvering on them. I didn't put any gloss paint or gloss varnish underneath. I thought I could get away with it, and obviously I didn't, which was a real stuff up, and obviously I didn't position that particularly well, as it then goes up to the lip of the porthole thing. I really enjoyed weathering the vehicle itself. What I did was spray it black first, then put some white parts on the paneling themselves. Then I sprayed it with AK Real Colours, early war German, I suppose German grey, whatever you want to call it. And rather than lighten it up or put lighter patches, I went to oils, and I put lighter oil patches and some different colours on them to lighten up the areas. I don't know how well I really did that. I then gave it a spray over of matte varnish Galleria, which is the same I just varnish the wargaming soldiers with, and but I added a few drops of water in, obviously, to make it flow through the airbrush, and it did go through the airbrush first time. I obviously done some streaking in that, and I did some streaking with oils, but then I backed that up again once I'd varnished it off and it obviously dried off. I then got some AK enamel, different streaking that I used I'd got for the Merkava. So I've put that in place. I didn't want to go over the top. I've not gone over the top with, you see some of these vehicles that often have 10 million scratches when the guys do them, and I didn't want to do loads and loads of chips everywhere. I wanted to keep it fairly subtle. I just put a bit. The only pigments I got was that Sinai mod from the pigment set from, was it AK, that I use on the Merkava, and I just put a bit round there just to show it's, because a lot of the pictures I've seen from these that weren't actually in the water. I've seen a couple on the beaches, but a lot of them the photographs I've seen, they've actually been parked up alongside roads in Russian villages, or at least in the east anyway. Again, you can see the silvering on this white marker here. I think that's for, obviously, to tell you if you're tipping over. Got your propellers there, rudders. But it really is. I would highly recommend this kit for anybody like me, if you're either new or I don't want to complicate the issue. Obviously I made models as a kid, but like all kids, it was back in the 80s. It was stringy glue, no filling, and a brush to paint everything with. Which I know some guys still brush paint, but I'm just saying, that's how I did it then. But this is a fantastic model to cut your teeth on if you just want to learn how to stick something together. It comes in very few pieces. These are one-piece tracks and wheels, so all you've got to worry about is sticking them to the vehicle. I stuck these on at the end because obviously it's a pain to get to the other parts to paint them. So I just painted those and put them to one side. You get your hull shape, the boat shape, whatever you want to call it. That's one-piece casting. Then you add your top piece, and then there's this divider, this little bulkhead here. That's a separate piece that fits in two slots in this cabin part, and you put the cabin on, and then you'll just add this tow bar here, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. A couple of little bits like wing mirrors and a couple of lights, as you can see, and that's it. You know, I mean, yeah, I say I've made it a bit more complicated. You can't really go wrong putting. Even I could put the putty on there, so that wasn't too bad. You could probably drill a lot straighter holes than I've put there. You know, and again, the hatch, you didn't have to, obviously there's lots of hatches on these, you don't have to do anything, obviously just keep them shut. Yeah. So yeah, I thoroughly recommend this kit. I believe it, I've got to be careful, I probably told you the price on when I did the unboxing video, but was it around £10–11, something like that? It's not going to break the bank, you know, and it's a really interesting little vehicle, put in your collection, and just to learn on, really. So guys, thank you very much. I will stick a couple of photographs on the end, just in case the lights here aren't too great. And I've got the up and coming videos quickly. I've got some of those AB. Yes, they're AB Italian, so they're going to be in white uniforms again. But that little part for the client is coming to an end. I've got to do a cavalry unit for him, and that's just a two unit part of the commission, and that's done then. I've got the Soviet fighter pilot bust. He's just waiting and waiting for me to get him on a plinth, but he's done. He's just wanting to go on the plinth. The Warrior of the Plains bust, the Native American First Nation, he hasn't progressed since the last video, but that's only because I was wanting to finish this off and get onto the commission, but I'm back to painting him in the next couple of days. The Sea Fury, I tried to remedy those oversprays that I did, some successfully, some not, but I will be putting the decals on that in the next couple of days. That's been a hard one now. It's when things go really deeply wrong, I do start switching off. I know I do. Whether it's just my head problems and that, I don't know, but I've struggled finding the desire to crack on with that. But as I say, I've tried to correct some of the overspray I did on that, or all the overspray I've tried to correct, and I've got to put some decals on that, and then we can get into the... I was watching Greg's video on oiling, that's Greg's models, on how he did his BF 109, and I want to do the oils on that, try that, and I've got some Flory wash to put on it as well. So you should start seeing, or I'll do a probably final reveal on that, maybe one more video then a reveal. You know, that'll be over in the next week or two. I've also got two more kits coming, both vehicles, one in 35, both the same type. I'll show you the first one. I presume it's going to be coming into my wife's office. That's where all my parcels go on Monday. So I'll be doing an unboxing of that, and I will probably crack on and start building that straight away, because I want to get back into a kit. And yes, I've got the aircraft, and I said I wouldn't do anything until the aircraft's done, but I want to get a couple more kits under my belt, because I'd like to return to the T55 and have one last go on that and see if I can rectify the problems. But I just want to get the feel for making kits again before I try that any more. I've also got a bust and a couple other bits and pieces to show in the coming weeks as well. So lots to come up, and hope you'll enjoy them. So you guys take care of yourselves. I really appreciate your kind comments and words, and for stopping by and taking a look at my videos. It's really appreciated. You look after yourselves, and I will see you again soon on another video. Cheers.